Jerusalem is not a large city by global standards, but few places carry as much historical, religious, and political weight. It sits in the southern Levant, on a plateau in the Judean mountains, between the Mediterranean Sea to the west and the Dead Sea to the east. For thousands of years, this location placed it near trade routes, empires, deserts, fertile hills, and contested frontiers. Today, Jerusalem is known not only as one of the world's oldest cities, but as a holy city for Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. It is also claimed by both Israel and Palestine as a capital, making it one of the most symbolically charged urban spaces on earth. To understand Jerusalem, it helps to start with its landscape. The city is built in the highlands, a setting that gave ancient settlements defensive advantages but also made water, access, and expansion constant concerns. The earliest signs of settlement appear in the area known as the City of David, with evidence of human presence going back to the 4th millennium BCE, including encampments associated with nomadic shepherds. Long before Jerusalem became a global religious symbol, it was a hill settlement in a complex ancient world of Canaanite city-states, local deities, tribal groups, and imperial powers watching from Egypt and Mesopotamia. In the Canaanite period, Jerusalem appears in ancient Egyptian records under a name often rendered as Jerusalem. Scholars commonly connect this name with Shalem, a Canaanite deity, suggesting a meaning like City of Shalem. This detail matters because it reminds us that Jerusalem's identity did not begin in its later religious forms. Like many ancient cities, it passed through layers of culture, language, and political control. Over time, its meaning changed dramatically. A local highland town became a royal center, then a temple city, then a sacred memory, and eventually a place whose name resonated across continents. According to the Hebrew Bible, King David conquered Jerusalem from the Jebusites and made it the capital of the United Kingdom of Israel. His son Solomon is described as commissioning the first temple, a central sanctuary that gave Jerusalem immense religious importance in Jewish tradition. Modern scholarship often frames the emergence of ancient Israel differently, arguing that Israelites developed out of Canaanite peoples and culture while forming a distinct religion centered on El or Yahweh. But whether approached through scripture, archaeology, or history, Jerusalem's role as a religious and administrative center of the Kingdom of Judah became central to Jewish memory and identity. Jerusalem's long history is marked by repeated conquest and catastrophe. The city has been destroyed at least twice, besieged 23 times, captured and recaptured 44 times, and attacked 52 times. These numbers are more than dramatic trivia. They show how Jerusalem repeatedly sat at the crossroads of larger struggles, regional kingdoms, imperial expansion, religious movements, and military campaigns. Each conquest left traces, whether in ruins, rebuilt walls, sacred traditions, or contested claims. The city's endurance comes not from peaceful continuity, but from survival through cycles of destruction, reconstruction, memory, and renewed attachment. The Old City is the heart of Jerusalem's global significance. Though it covers only about 0.9 square kilometers, it contains sites of extraordinary importance to billions of people. Its current walls were rebuilt in 1538 under Suleiman the Magnificent of the Ottoman Empire, and those walls still define the Old City today. Since the 19th century, the Old City has commonly been described as divided into 4 quarters: Armenian, Christian, Jewish, and Muslim. These quarters are not just tourist labels. They reflect centuries of community life, religious institutions, pilgrimage networks, and political sensitivities packed into an unusually small area. For Judaism, Jerusalem is deeply tied to the memory of the ancient temples and to the idea of a holy city. The Hebrew phrase, often translated as the Holy City, became especially associated with Jerusalem in post-exilic times, after the trauma of conquest and displacement. The Western Wall, part of the retaining structures around the Temple Mount, is one of the most important Jewish prayer sites today. It represents proximity to where the first and second temples once stood, and for many Jews it is a place of mourning, continuity, prayer, and national as well as religious identity. For Christianity, Jerusalem's holiness is rooted in both inherited scripture and the New Testament. Christians adopted the Hebrew Bible as the Old Testament, preserving Jerusalem's earlier sacred significance. But the city became even more central through the accounts of Jesus' final days, crucifixion, burial, and resurrection. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre is traditionally associated with the site of Jesus' crucifixion and tomb, making it one of Christianity's most important pilgrimage destinations. For Christian communities, Jerusalem is not only a place on a map, but a physical setting for events understood as central to salvation history. For Islam, Jerusalem is the third holiest city after Mecca and Medina. Early in Islamic history, it was the first standard direction of prayer before the Qibla was changed to Mecca. Islamic tradition also connects Jerusalem to the night journey, in which Muhammad is said to have traveled there in 621 and ascended to heaven, where he spoke with God. The Al-Aqsa Mosque compound, located on the Temple Mount, includes the Dome of the Rock and the Qibla, or Al-Aqsa, Mosque. This shared sacred platform is one of the most sensitive religious spaces in the world because different communities attach profound and overlapping meanings to it. The modern political status of Jerusalem is one of the core issues in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Under the 1947 United Nations Partition Plan for Palestine, Jerusalem was intended to become a corpus separatum, a separate entity under a special international regime administered by the United Nations. That plan reflected the city's unique religious importance and the difficulty of assigning it exclusively to one side. But the plan was overtaken by war. After the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, armistice agreements in 1949 left Jerusalem divided, West Jerusalem under Israeli control and East Jerusalem under Jordanian control. The division lasted until 1967, when Israel occupied East Jerusalem from Jordan during the Six-Day War. Israel later incorporated East Jerusalem, along with additional surrounding territory, into the city's municipality. In 1980, Israel passed the Jerusalem Law, one of its basic laws, referring to Jerusalem as the country's complete and united capital. Israel's major national institutions are located there, including the Knesset, the residences of the Prime Minister and President, and the Supreme Court. Palestinians, meanwhile, also claim Jerusalem as their capital and ultimately envision it as their seat of power. These competing claims are not widely recognized internationally in full. Jerusalem is also a living city with a changing population, not just a symbol or a historic monument. Since 1860, it has expanded far beyond the old city's walls. In 2024, its population was about 1,050,153. Recent demographic figures show a city made up largely of Jewish and Palestinian communities, with smaller Christian and unclassified populations. In 2022, about 60% of residents were Jews and almost 40% were Palestinians. These numbers matter because political debates over Jerusalem are also debates over neighborhoods, residency, services, movement, housing, identity, and the everyday lives of more than 1 million people. What makes Jerusalem so difficult to summarize is that every layer is still present. It is an ancient settlement, a sacred city, a pilgrimage destination, a political capital, a disputed territory, and a home. Its old city is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and is also listed as World Heritage in Danger, reflecting both its universal importance and its vulnerability. Jerusalem's story is not simply about the past. It is about how history remains active in the present, shaping law, diplomacy, worship, identity, and conflict. To understand Jerusalem is to understand why one small city can carry the hopes, memories, and claims of billions. If you found this helpful, please like this video and subscribe for more explainers.